Well, we really lucked out. Today is March 17th, and yesterday we managed to get the tiller going enough to till a small section of the garden. And this is always remarkable in March because in March it's usually too wet and cold to do any gardening. But the garden was pretty dry and actually it was perfect for tilling. We were able to get 2 rows of spinach planted, which is great because the best spinach we get here in Southwest Ohio is spinach that we plant in March. And usually what happens is if you don't take advantage of the one opportunity you usually get in March to till the garden and plant stuff, you usually don't get to plant it until sometime in April or early May. So I'm really glad we were able to get that spinach planted, and we'll see how it grows. Subsequently, we had several periods of heavy rainfall which saturated the garden, and these seeds rotted. So we'll have to replant the spinach at the next opportunity when conditions permit. It's May 10th, and I need to get these in the garden. As you can see, the garden is really dry. I just tilled it. We've had an unusual spring. It was really wet earlier, and now it's kind of on the dry side. However, after 2 more days, we're supposed to get a week of pretty high % chance of rain. So really need to get these plants in the garden before that happens. Neil and I planted 2 rows already of onions, and they have pretty much taken root. They are starting to grow in the garden, so that's good. I don't want to have too many things I have to water all at once. So we planted these about 10 days ago, and they're doing really well, as is the kale. I would have planted more onions, but I had not tilled the rest of the garden yet. And we had a ton of rain earlier this spring. About 3 times this garden was completely flooded, and the garden got packed down really hard, and it was almost like concrete, which is very unusual. This is very good soil usually. So I just tilled it, and I'm getting ready to plant my 3rd row of onions. There'll be 4 in all, and we're doing 3 rows of Trekker and 1 row of Trailblazer. We just, in fact, used up our very last Trailblazer onion from last year. Yesterday I put it in a batch of chili, so that was May 9th, and that's a pretty good record for keeping storage onions from August all the way through into May. Because of all the rain, I actually have had to plant the spinach and the beets twice. You can see the little spinach plants coming up. We planted the 2 rows of onions. It's the middle of May, and our garden is bone dry. The weather forecast keeps predicting a high % chance of rain, but the rain seems to keep going around us. So we're under some pressure to get our little plants into the garden transplanted because we're going away on a trip next week. I keep putting more plants in the garden. We have the tomatoes planted. The corn is planted. Of course, it hasn't sprouted yet. We have sweet potatoes and regular potatoes planted. And then we have a row of parsley, celery, and lettuce, and peppers, 4 rows of onions, and some kale. And then on the other side of this little weed patch of irises, which we're working on cleaning up, we've got beets, 2 rows of spinach, some irises that we've transplanted as we're cleaning them up, and then a row of white fir trees that are just bare rooted. They were just bare rooted when we planted them up here about a week ago. When we returned from our trip, we had to do a lot of weeding. And this is an update on the garden in the middle of June. And also, thankfully, it rained sufficiently while we were away, so our plants actually did quite well.
Okay, here's our garden that we started either from seeds or some plantings. And right here we have a row of irises that I brought from home. And here's some more plants that we've started early. We have a good row of red beets. And of course some more irises. And there's a sunflower. Our good kale crop that's coming in real well. And of course all our onions. And here's some pepper plants with some Hungarian wax peppers. And these are some wonderful Sun Gold hybrid golden cherry tomatoes. Our corn is doing real well. Tomato plants, and they're doing real well. And we've been enjoying the asparagus all spring long. And that's just an update on our garden. Hope you enjoyed it.